next 30 minutes. Thanks for joining us. The Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Aja Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang, Monday presided over the Tourism Stakeholders Consultative Meeting held at the Banjul International Airport. The forum provided a platform for stakeholders in the tourism sector to chart a way forward for the coming season. Yoro Jallow tells us more.
The tourism season begins on the home front with the first flight from Scandinavia expected to touch down at the Banjul International Airport tonight. For these reasons and others, the top echelon and the tourism sector and stakeholders gathered in the morning at the airport conference room to further strategize for the 2017-2018 season with a different short-term goal. The meeting was officiated by the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Aja Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang.
By way of context, we know we are coming from a very complex situation, that is political, economic and social situation, which has really impacted negatively not only on our people but also on the economy, on the social, infrastructure, communications, environment, cutting across the board. And in response to that, what our government has done is to adopt a reform agenda ranging from all sectors of the economy, and particularly so in the tourism sector. We all know that economically our situation is very complex. Our economy is very narrow. We have had to really run very fast as a government to secure budget support from the EU.
Tourism in the Gambia is the second largest contributor to the country's economy, next to agriculture, a situation underscoring the importance of this meeting. This meeting, said Ahmad Ba, the Tourism and Culture Minister, is also convened to discuss ways of sustaining the industry in the long term.
In the Gambia here, they search your back and want to take everything that you have, not for the interest of government, for their own personal interests at the expense of the state. It cannot continue. Gambians cannot be foreigners in their own homeland. This is a country that they deserve to be treated fairly. It's not about tourists. It's about the way Gambians are treated in this airport. It has to stop.
He underscored his ministry's commitment to ensure that the Gambia has the best opportunity to compete in a globalized tourism world. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ousainou Darboe, said the meeting would greatly help to reposition the tourism sector. The Minister of the Environment, Lamin Darboe, stressed the need for a better environmental management system to attract tourists. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism and Culture, Kodu Jabang, assured the participant that the advancement of the tourism sector remains a top government priority. For GRTS News, this is Yoro Jallow reporting.
The Attorney General and Minister of Justice Monday announced the extension of the mandate for the Commission of Inquiry into ex-President Jammeh's dealings. The move follows a new bill of indictment for the alleged killers of Solo Sandeng. Sini Marena has the rest of the story.
The objective of Justice Ba Tambedu's press briefing is to provide the public and media with information about key activities undertaken by the Justice Ministry as part of its reform agenda. Speaking on a wide range of issues, including the ongoing NIA 9 case, the Justice Minister said a new indictment has been filed by the special prosecutor appointed by the state.
It is my understanding that the case will resume on Monday, 16th October. That's next week, Monday. I have been informed by the prosecutor, Mr. Antuman Gay, that he intends to file a motion to amend the indictment in order to increase the number of counts to 26 from the initial number of 12 counts.
On the Constitutional Review Commission, he told journalists plans are at a very advanced stage to draft a bill for the establishment of Constitutional Review Commission.
The objective of the consultation was to provide an opportunity for ordinary Gambians to express their concerns, opinions and views about the establishment of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, and to take on board their comments as we embark on designing a Truth Commission model that will suit the particular context of the Gambia.
The Attorney General further briefed journalists on the ongoing Commission of Inquiry probing into the financial activities of the ex-President Jammeh and his close associates.
The establishment order of 12 July 2017 provided for the Commission to complete its work within a period of 3 months of its first sitting, which occurred on 10th August 2017. However, it also gave the power to the Commission to continue beyond that period if, in its opinion, it is necessary to do so. The Commission now deems it necessary to extend its mandate to an additional 6 months from the date of expiry of the first 3 months in view of the following: the emergence of new evidence, which warrants the calling of more witnesses to testify before the Commission, the nature and complexity of the evidence adduced by witnesses before the Commission, which will necessitate the procurement of the services of forensic accountants and auditors.
On the much-anticipated Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, the government chief legal advisor announced that they are at the final review stages of the proposed TRRC bill.
We informed the communities about the fundamental objectives of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission and solicited their input on all aspects of the process. The consultations provided us with an opportunity to gauge the public mood and sentiment on several aspects of the work of the Commission.
All this comes as the Justice Department moves to strengthen capacity and enhance resources within the ministry. That undertaking is being supported by other development partners. The Attorney General highlighted substantial amount of office material lined up to fully engage the institution, resources and professional capacity. This includes state-of-art computers and printers from the UNDP and Turkish government. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Sene MK Marena.
Delegates at the just concluded Senegal-Gambia Business Networking Forum have resolved to be more action-oriented in enhancing economic relations between the two sister countries. Momodou Njai tells us more.
This is the biggest economic forum that has brought two close neighbors whose bonds go beyond borderlines, but whose relations suffered serious setbacks during the past 22 years, affecting the lives and livelihoods of its people.
The political will is very important. We know where we are coming from, a very complex and difficult situation. We are going to review all the agreements that have been signed between Gambia and other countries, and including Senegal. We are going to, some of them we will have to, those that are in the interest of the Gambian people and the Senegalese and other countries, we will follow up and we will ensure that they become reality, inshallah. Those that are really, that need reform, because no agreement is static. We will need to review them, to revise them, in order to really see the possibility of having reforms within our reform agenda. We already know that the reform agenda is in a very strategic position. We have constitutional, economic, legislative, and security. All these are reforms, civil service reform that Gambia has adopted as an agenda for change.
The forum also availed participants the opportunity to discuss issues affecting various sectors, key among them high cost of air, road and sea transport between Banjul and Dakar. Serigne Mboup, president of the Dakar Chamber of Commerce and Industry, called for the review of existing policies in both Senegal and Gambia to remove some of these impediments that add to the cost of doing business, which in turn slows down the process of integrating the two economies. GRTS sounded the opinion of NAWEC representative to the forum, Nani Juwara, whose institution is facing challenges in the energy sector, on what this forum meant to his company.
There is no other way option to the Senegambian population. We have to integrate. And the surest way of integration is to take practical steps. And since August 22nd, most part of North Bank and LRR, I enjoy 24 hours electricity supply, and therefore we are very optimistic that there is a second phase which is coming very soon, and that is to interconnect at the current end by December 2017. We also come to fruition, and this we are very optimistic about it. Notwithstanding, we also realize that even the GBA, we have a possibility to interconnect with Senegal.
Although the governments of the two countries are committed to strengthening bilateral relations to form a strong strategic partnership, the success of this new push will depend on how quickly the constraints that impede the process of achieving the economic integration of the two countries are removed. The two governments were urged by both delegations to work to achieving this goal. Mamadou Ndiaye, GRTS.
The Network Against Gender-Based Violence on Monday brought together 30 participants from the West Coast region to discuss the negative effect and legal implications of FGM, child marriage, and gender-based violence. The 4-day capacity enhancement program is funded by UNICEF. Khadija Jallo reports.
This program, organized by the Network Against Gender-Based Violence, the Gambia, was meant to create awareness about the negative effects and legal implications of FGM, child marriage, and gender-based violence. The organization's coordinator, Hadi Gay Barrow, explained some of their evidence-based findings on the effects of FGM.
My child will not be caught. I will not batter my wife. I will not get married before I am above 18. I will not marry a young girl who is less than 18. These are the critical decisions we want young people to see. And they can only say this when they have the right information at the right time. But what came out clearly is that FGM has a correlation with blood loss during delivery. And many of our women die as a result of childbirth because they bleed, meaning they lost a lot of blood. It has clearly come out in the research that FGM has a correlation with blood loss during delivery.
As young people, Barrow added that critical decision is important to effect change for the better. Siraba, a medical practitioner and a member of the Network Against Gender-Based Violence, said women constitute more than 50% of the population. This, she added, makes their role in society critical.
And one of the issues that the network is bold enough to take up is gender-based violence, which is happening in every second in our homes. And FGM is not left out. But allow me to say training is very key here. Knowledge is power. If you train one woman, you are training the whole world. Because that individual will share information with any other person that she meets up, whether going up or coming down. If you train a man, you train an individual.
Omar Gay of Combo North Youth Committee, on behalf of the participants, expressed optimism that the participants will use the knowledge gained from the 4-day training to change perceptions about FGM, child marriage, and gender-based violence. Similar trainings, according to organizers, are underway in Farafenni North Bank region and in Pakalinding in Lower River region. Khadija Jallo reporting for GRTS News.
The National Assembly member for Ilyasa recently presented bank account documents to the 4 wards under the Ilyasa constituency. Uminjai witnessed the presentation ceremony and fathered this report.
The presentation of the 4 bank account documents for the 4 wards of Ilyasa constituency was in fulfillment of a campaign promise by Honorable Dembo K.M. Kamara to share part of his monthly earnings with his constituency. This, according to him, is to support the development of the communities with a special focus on the education sector.
When I have an interest to be the names of the constituency, the first thing I thought was to upgrade the educational system of my constituency. So during my campaign, I've already promised my electorate that whenever I won the election, I'll try to share the earnings I've got of my payment. Then I decided to open an account for my 4 wards, Lokunda ward, and Kocha ward, and the Kwandara ward, and Fafen ward.
The presentations were held in Alkali Kunda, Yala Tankujala, Nokunda and Farafenye, where community members gathered to receive what they described as a timely and much needed intervention.
I decided to give them $2,000 every month, and yearly at least they were able to get about $100,000, so that they were able to upgrade from grade 10 to grade 12, whether you're at Arabic school or English school.
Beneficiaries such as women councillors and ward chairpersons expressed gratitude to the National Assembly member and promised to utilize the funds judiciously. The funds, if put into good use, will undoubtedly support the development of the country's future leaders. Ominjai, GRTS.
Wood carving is one of the oldest forms of art. It is the technique of decorating and cutting designs into wood in an artistic way. Well, Mama J takes a look at one man in Nyamina Sambang, Fulakunda Central River region, who makes hand-carved stools for a living.
They are made from a single piece of wood. These wonderful hand-carved chairs are cleverly designed with beautiful decorations. These carvers are endowed with special skills. They produce a variety of local stools. Lamin Kadiso of Sambang Fulakunda in Nyamina district said the job needs strength. He added that carving a figure in wood is both difficult and time-consuming.
It's not every day that I go to the bush. Sometimes I get so tired that I had to rest at home.
Sustaining the art and craft of wood carving is being demonstrated by these village carvers who get a living out of the trade. I have been in this business for about 10 years. It is where I get my children's school fees and take care of other family responsibilities, so told me. Although the work might be slow and requires substantial skill, according to Lamin So, he can carve 2 to 3 chairs a day. He said the small chair has a price tag of $100, while the big stool costs $140 each. Wood carving employs about 5 to 10% in the country. The man responsible for coordinating community forest and other forest management-related activities at the national level said his office promotes wood carving just like any handicraft activity as enshrined in the Forestry Act.
Whoever is into wood carving need to acquire a license from the Department of Forestry that will authorize you to carve forest products and sell them locally or internationally. Of course, you can acquire, the law is also saying that you can acquire forest product from outside, but that also requires a due process.
Mahogany is one of the popular woods used by most carvers in the country to make furniture, masks, and figurines.
The lack of equipment and market to sell our products, as well as a ban on logging, has posed a challenge to carvers like me who only depend on trees that are felled by the wind in the forest.
Mr. Gay made clarifications on speculation of a ban on logging and timber exploitation following its alleged exploitation in the country.
There are a lot of stories also going on that there's ban on timber. Of course, there's ban, but the ban is specifically meant for the export. There's ban on export of forest product out of the country. But as far as the laws are concerned, there's no ban on the domestic use of our forest resources. So whosoever is in need of timber, of course, there's a procedure or there's a process you need to follow to acquire that timber legally. But you also see to it that most of the time, especially these wood carvers, most of them don't want to go through the right process. But then in order to acquire, because there are different forest categories. When in terms of the community forest areas, those are areas that are owned and managed by the communities. If you need anything from those places, then you need to pass through the communities. And those communities also can only utilize those forest resources when they gain ownership over their forest areas, one, and also they have a valid management plan.
Although the trade is often cited as a source of deforestation, so stated, it cannot be compared to the amount used for domestic firewood and international export. Mama J, GRTS.
Face the Nation on GRTS TV this week looks at the Gambia's tourism sector and its impact on the economy. To find out more, join the recording of the program at the Caraba Beach Hotel on Thursday, 12th October 2017 at 11 a.m. Officials of the Ministry of Tourism and the Gambia Tourism Board will be there to answer your questions and listen to your concerns. Everyone is invited. A group called President Adama Barrow Youth Movement at the weekend held its first general meeting in Talinding. The Youth Forum attracted a large crowd of young people ready to contribute to nation building. By Ibrahim Cham tells us more.
Under the motto, Gambia for All, the maiden convergence of the President Barrow Youth Movement attracted the support of many influential figures in youth development. Youth executives at this forum promised to bridge the gap between government and young people and further charm stakeholders to support youth development initiatives. The objective here is youth empowerment, galvanizing participation devoid of political affiliation. And many will be surprised by the presence of APRC PRO and youth mobilizer Sidin Jai, who turned up to grace the event and add his voice to the day's significance.
We have a challenge, which is a new power democracy that President Barrow gave Gambians. We must not abuse it. We must work hand in hand with President Barrow to fulfill his dreams and aspirations. And whosoever is not with him or his party, we should find ways to put them on the same page to make sure his development plans are fulfilled.
Fatima Jame, the president of the youth movement, explained the rationale behind the group's initiation.
So, our aims and objectives is to promote President Barrow's ideal, that is his agendas and his goodwill for this country, like taking the country forward. Because we noticed that he has been doing a lot of progress since he took in power. But then it is unknown because he is a quiet president, a very humble one. So we took this initiative as youths that we will come together and then spread what he is doing, the developments that he is giving to the people, and his aims and objectives that he has for these Gambian people.
The group's PRO, Keba Langfofana, underscored the youth of the Gambia must be engaged in the forefront of national development.
The aims and objectives of the President Barrow Youth Movement is to see a united Gambia that is going to empower the youths on a united front to make sure that our future is safeguarded. This cannot be done. This cannot be done, and I would emphasize, this cannot be done if at all the youths are not in the forefront of the developmental activities of the government.
The cheers and determination of the crowd, mostly women, stayed an enthusiastic atmosphere, uniting young people keenly poised to engage and complement the government's development goals. By Ibrahim Cham, GRTS News.
We will be back with the sports news right after this break. Stay with us.